Silence is Martin Scorsese's latest film that came out in 2016, and it stars Andrew Garfield, Adam Driver, and Liam Neeson. And this movie is about these Christian priests, played by Andrew Garfield, and Kylo Ren, aka Adam Driver, who both need to look for their mentor, who is played by Liam Neeson, called Father Ferreira. They need to find him, they need to go to Japan to find him. They don't even know if he's alive or if he's dead or not, so this is a very risky thing because in Japan, Christianity was literally illegal. If you were a Christian in Japan, you were killed and tortured to death. It was very risky for them to go into Japan and try to find Father Ferreira, and they also go and help many Japanese people who are Christians and being persecuted for what they believe. So guys, Silence is a movie that was very, very intriguing from the trailers and a lot of the buzz that was surrounding this movie because it took so long for this movie to finally get a trailer, and everyone was so wondering about this movie, especially because it's directed by Martin Scorsese and it stars some incredible actors. But the trailers were so vague that I basically went in this movie not knowing very much. I didn't know much about this movie and I kind of just went in basically blind. I did see the trailers, but the trailers were so vague, so I didn't really know much about this film. And I gotta say, Silence is the most disturbing movie I think I've ever seen in my life. This is the most depressing, dark, freaky movie I've ever seen. Silence is not a fun film. This film is not fun to watch. It's not enjoyable, but it is extremely, extremely well made and very powerful. This movie is not fun to watch at all. This movie, the entire runtime, the entire 3-hour runtime, I felt a gut punch of emotion. I just felt so sick to my stomach because of what was happening in this film. This movie basically explores humanity and what can torture a human being. If you are to name a legit human torture, it's probably in this film. They basically have every form of human torture that you can possibly think of in this movie. It is the darkest film that I've ever seen in my life, and I never want to watch this movie again. It is incredible in every sense of the word. This movie is a masterpiece, but it's not something I would want to watch again. I would rather watch Hacksaw Ridge over this movie again. Andrew Garfield in this movie is, in my opinion, the best performance of the entire year. This guy is incredible. I loved him in Hacksaw Ridge. He was incredible. He's probably one of the best performances I've seen all year in that, but in this movie, he's even better! I couldn't even believe it. This is literally the best performance I've seen from an actor all year. In the start of this movie, this guy is faithful in God. He has very high faith in God, and he is really confident that he can find Father Ferreira. He's very level-headed. But through this entire movie, he slowly goes insane because you can see everything stripped emotionally from this guy, and he has so many incredible Oscar-worthy scenes in this film because he goes through a lot of hardships in this movie. I, throughout this movie, was depressed because this guy went through so much bad stuff. It's not a fun movie to watch at all, and Andrew Garfield in this film is absolutely incredible. It's the best performance I've seen all year. Adam Driver in this movie, while not in it as much as Andrew Garfield is, he's more of a smaller character still. He is amazing. I love this guy. Adam Driver is such a good actor, and in this movie he does have some really, really heart-wrenching scenes. I mean, oh my goodness. Liam Neeson, who only has a few scenes in this movie, is still fantastic. While he's there, he's very powerful. He's an integral part to the plot, even if he isn't in the movie enough. He's very integral to the plot because he plays Father Ferreira, the guy they're looking for. But the stuff that he has to do is very powerful. It's very thought-provoking, and he's incredible in this film. The rest of the actors in this film, who are a lot of Japanese people I don't know the names of, are all fantastic. There are a lot of really great Japanese actors in this film that really, really make you just heartbroken. This entire movie just makes you heartbroken because it's so depressing and disturbing. And also, while watching this movie, you don't need to be a big Christian in order to see the brilliance that is in this film, because regardless of your religious views, you can understand that these characters are people that believe what they believe, and they're very hardened in what they believe. They're very passionate about it. You can relate it to any human passion, and you can understand where these guys are coming from. You can understand their points of view, even if you aren't well versed in religion, because you can still understand where they're coming from, and you can still feel for these characters. Martin Scorsese is one of those filmmakers that never makes a bad film, and it shows in this movie because he made another masterpiece. This film is very well directed, and one of the things I really liked about this movie is that it's so well shot. This is one of the best looking movies I've seen all year. The cinematography is gorgeous. The scenery in this film is spectacular and really nice to look at. That is one of the things I admired a lot about this movie. This movie is shot beautifully, and the landscapes are so beautiful. Even if the entire time you're watching this movie, you're kind of in pain. And also, another thing I love about this movie is that there's basically no score. The only score in this movie is basically like crickets chirping and the sounds of nature and the sounds of the surroundings, and it made it feel more real. I usually like when there's a score in films, but there's basically no score in this film. It's a very quiet film, which is fitting because the movie is called Silence. There's no score in the background, but the performances are so strong and the movie is so impactful that you don't really need a score for this movie to be incredible. While I saw this movie, I respected that there was no score because I was still absolutely invested in the entire thing. This has some of the best sound editing to a film that I've ever heard in my life. You can constantly feel like you are there while you're watching this film. It feels like you're eavesdropping on actual conversations that people are having. You feel like you're there watching these events occur before you. It's really impressive. Another thing I need to mention is that this movie is 3 hours. While going into this film, I was a little bit worried that this movie might end up being slow. I was worried that this movie might not have my interest the whole time. But this movie is nearly 3 hours, and I was constantly invested in this film. I was constantly paying attention. I was constantly really interested in what was happening, even if the entire film is terrifying and hard to watch. I was still invested in the entire film, and the 3 hours blew by. I couldn't believe how short this movie felt. It was literally 3 hours, and I was just like, I'm done already? That was 3 hours? What? Guys, I'm really upset that I couldn't review this movie before I did my best list because this would be number 3 on my best list. I'm pretty sure. I need to think about that, but I'm pretty sure I'd put it at number 3 because this is one of the best films of 2016. This is the darkest, most depressing, terrifying movie I've ever seen, especially with the ending. The ending in this movie is probably the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in an entire film. It blew me away. Silence is a masterpiece. This film is fantastic and absolutely gets an A+. Hallelujah. Guys, I never want to watch Silence again. Never. I'd rather watch a really bad movie than watch this movie again because it's so terrifying and hard to watch and depressing. But it is incredible, and if you are into film, this is something you should see. It's not going to be for everyone, because a lot of people like fun films, and this film there's nothing fun about it. It's one of the most horrifying things you'll ever see in your life, but it's incredible. Alright guys, if you like my review of Silence, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Go see Silence. This film is fantastic, and it's really unfortunate that it's bombing at the box office right now. Alright guys, see you next time.